Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Happy Friday to all of you. You want to say hello, Lulu? Look at how big Lulu is getting. Look at this. You all remember the first day about, I think it was 3 weeks ago now. Look at this. You want to say hello, Lulu? Say hello. Say hello. Say hello, ladies and gentlemen. No? Okay. Let's go put you down then. Go on. Go on. Don't be making a mess. Hello, how's everyone doing? Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you all. Do me a favor. Can you please give me a 1 if I'm coming in loud and clear? Thank you for being here. I hope that you had a good week this week. Ali, how you doing? Copernicus, hello. Yarn Preppers in the house. Linda Bob, how are you? Happy Friday to you. Spam Heads Rise, how you doing? Oops. JT, how are you doing, JT? Good to see you. SR, what's up, my brother? Evita, how are you doing, Evita? Say hello to JR, my other brother, from a different mother, of course. Gracious 48 is in the house. Terry, how you doing? Dante, how are you doing? Merry Christmas. Pipple Mama, hello. Scott, Don Quest, Cranky Old Lady is here. PSN, how are you doing? All the way from Wasilla. All right, welcome. Welcome. Very nice to have you. Lisa, how are you? YTU is in the house along with Linda Mitchell. Sharon is in the house. How you doing, Sharon? Good to see you. Amy Lou. For those of you that don't know Sharon is an OG. She's been with this channel for a very long time. So it's very nice to see you, Shannon. Linda Woodbury, how are you? Renee Tyler, Vicky Jordan, how are you? Sherry, Jennifer. 20 on Pump 5 is in the house. Robert, New Florida Prepper 1 is here. RM Life. Yeah, she is getting big, isn't she? And she's such a good little girl, too. She's still getting used to the house, but she's playing with the other dogs. The other 2 dogs, Dog and Karma, I do believe that they've pretty much fully accepted her now, because I've seen them both individually playing with her now and then, you know, and not too many growls come out of Dog or Karma's mouth anymore. So it's a good thing. Celine, all right, I'm getting 1s all over the board. 5x5, looking good. Happy Friday, Angela. Good to see you. Gladys, how you doing? Brian Loves Bacon is in the house. Jay Ross, how you doing? Svein Vate, how are you doing, Svein? Good to see you all the way from Norway. Stormy Kurtz, how are you? Today I wanted to go over a little bit about, actually, I have great news for those of you that are looking for a solar generator. Ladies and gentlemen, I got an email, I believe it was, from someone saying, hey, AP, when's the next time that OUPES is going to have a sale? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea when's the next time they're going to have a sale. And he's like, I've been waiting for them to have their next sale because I'm ready to get one now. So I emailed my rep over at OUPES, and they're not having any sales here for a while. They're going to have a sales for Women's Day, I believe it is, starting on the 7th of March. But what OUPES did for me, just for the AP community, no one else is getting this deal. It's the very best deal that they've ever given on an OUPES 2400. And let me go ahead and cover this right now. That way I don't forget. And that way it'll be in the beginning of the live stream, so that anyone that gets on can at least see it. I'll try to put it out on a short video tomorrow and then Sunday, because it's only going to be good from now to Sunday night. So I'm going to cover this right now. Where is it at? So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is the very best deal that I've ever seen Opus give. I think it's even better than their Black Friday deal, right? And it's definitely better than the sale that they're going to have for Women's Day. I think it's on the 7th of March, but I'll cover that when it gets closer to that. But only on the 2400. It's only on the 2400. If you go on there and you use the code Alaska, if you use the code Alaska, uh, they're going to take another 20% off of the 1,099. So normally it's 11.99. They got like 8% off, which brings it to 1,099. And if you use my code Alaska, 879. That is 39 cents per watt hour. Let me see if that's right. Yeah, that's 39 cents per watt hour, ladies and gentlemen, even less than that per watt. So only if you're in the market for a solar generator, like I know a few people are. I hope that the couple of people that email me asking if there's going to be sales, I hope they're watching this and they see it. Because again, this is the very best price I've ever seen them do for a 2400. The 2400 is my favorite of the Legacy series. Of their original series, the 2400 is the beast. Is my favorite. It's got specifications are outstanding. Anyways, that's the price for it. Outstanding price is going to be on right now through March 3rd, which is Sunday night. All right, so from right now to Sunday night, this is going to be the best price, even better than the one that they gave, I believe, on Black Friday, and this coming up next sale. All right, so if you're in the market, ladies and gentlemen, this is the one. That's the best deal that I can get for you right there. 20% off their sale price already. So I'm really glad that I was able to get that, because this is the only channel that they're doing that for, by the way. All right. There's no other channels out there that are going to get 20% off of that. Just this one. You know why? Because I asked. Somebody emailed me asking if there's going to be a sale. I said, I don't know. Let me go ask and see if they'll do something. And they did. So good luck to anyone that wants to get it. Good for you. I already have one. Here's my 2400 right here. Okay. All right. So Gail, how you doing? Good to see you. Bass Ackward Universe, how are you doing? Good to see you. And we are going to talk about power generation today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that because I've gotten a few emails, and I've got, those were some of them asking when there's going to be a sale. But then I got another email from someone asking what size solar generator and or generator should I get for my house? My house is about 2,400 square feet. And I asked the gentleman that emailed me, I was like, hey, why don't you send me your phone number so I can talk to you? Because that's a very complicated question. What size solar generator or generator do I need for my house of 2,400 square feet? It's not that simple. So today we're going to talk about that for a little bit in hopes that you out there are getting prepared for when the lights go out. Why is that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that our lives are going to turn into 1 second after. You know, the novel 1 Second After, which was a EMP, all right, that ended up being done by the government, etc. I digress. I'm not going to do a spoiler alert, all right? But I'm not saying it's going to turn into that. But eventually, you will need some kind of power backup for your life, either for a short term or unfortunately, maybe also for a long term. So I want to make sure, I want to cover at least that people know or have a basic understanding of what size generator, either be it a gas generator or a solar generator, they would need in order to continue to run their house with the critical items that they need, critical appliances that they need to run their house. All right. So I want to, if today, those of you that don't understand can leave this live stream with the knowledge of knowing, okay, so in order for me to be able to run my house during a long-term power outage or a short-term power outage, this is the size generator or solar generator that I need. And you'll be comfortable with what you have, okay, or with what you get. So that's my goal for today. Let's see if we can make it. Zombie Force, how are you doing? Good to see you. Jennifer Cruz is in the house. Let's see. Butterfly, how are you doing? Crazy Cali Prepper, how you doing? Crazy Cali Prepper is a newbie. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream and the community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Crazy Cali Prepper. Awesome. If you're new here, let us know throughout the live stream so we can welcome you in. All right. Because I think it's important that we do that. It shows that we are a community. Who's your pioneer? How you doing? Let's see. I'm going to try to pronounce this right. I don't know how to pronounce it. Susu Oinus. Susu Oinus. Nice. Nice. Also, thank you very much, by the way, and welcome. Don Quest, new is here. Who shut off the lights? I like that. Adam, Billy, what's up? How you doing, Billy? Good to see you, brother. Fluffy Otter, let's see. Mrs. Berrios, how are you doing? Una Boricua here from the PR. Welcome. Chelsea is here. Let's see. I haven't seen Jan. Has anyone seen Jan? Forrest is in the house. How you doing? Diana too. Gail. Pat Small is here. How you doing, Pat? Let me bring this over here. I always catch myself looking down. Let me see if this helps. That way I don't have to be looking downward. Let's see. Hey, do you guys like my haircut? I finally got a haircut. I was getting harassed there about getting a haircut for a little bit. Let's see. Amazing Grandma. How are you doing, Amazing Grandma? How does the 2400 compare to the Mega 2? I can tell you it's a great deal for the price. All right. The Mega 2 is the next in the evolution of OUPES products when it comes to that size solar generator. And so let me just give you a couple of quick specs, okay? So the 2400, this is 2400 right here. It has a battery of 2232 watt hours, right? Which is pretty nice. It's a good sized battery, especially for that price. All right. That price is awesome for the watt hours that you're getting. It has an inverter that will have an output of 2400 watts continuous. Okay. It has an input, if you're charging it from your wall outlet, of about 400 watts, which is a little bit slow for today's solar generators because it's not fast charging. But again, remember the price, 39 cents or 30, how much was it? 39 cents per watt hour. That's an awesome price. So you're definitely getting what you pay for and more for that price. All right. So anyways, if you're charging off the wall, it's about 400 watts, which means it's going to take about 6 hours to fully charge it if you're charging off the wall, roughly. But if you're charging with solar panels, it takes up to 960 watts, I think, input. It's 900 and something. I think it's 960 watts. Yes, it is. 960 watt input with solar panels, which means that it'll charge in about 2.5 hours or so. That's great. I mean, it has a max output of about 4,000 watts. So it has a surge of 4,000, I believe it is. And it's just a great machine. I use it every summer to do my power tools and everything like that outside. And then I have it connected to a couple of solar panels that by the next morning it's charged up. All right. So it's a great one. Where I like the Mega 2 better is because it's the next level, right? In this, it's fast charging, right? It will have an input from the wall of about 1,800 watts. It'll have input from solar of about 2,100 watts, but it only has a battery of about 2,072 watt hours, which is not that much smaller than the 2,400. It's about 150, 130 watts or so watt hours less. Not that big of a deal. But it does have an inverter of 2,500 watts output with 4,000 watts. I believe it is 4,000 surge. So they're pretty even. But the Mega 2 has a 30 amp outlet, which means that you can actually hook it up to your house. With the Mega 2, which is right here, the Mega 2, you can attach 4 external batteries to it, bringing the watt hour capacity all the way up to a little over 10,000 watt hours, where with the 2400, you can't attach an extra battery to it. All right. But again, for the price, if you're looking for something to keep the lights running during a power outage, to keep a refrigerator running, something like that, this is perfect right here. This one, if you get all the batteries that you can attach to it, you can actually power your house with it, right? So that's where I like this one better. This is my favorite Mega series. You got the Mega 2, 3, and 5. This is my favorite. Why? Because you can get up to 10,000 watt hours of storable capacity, and because it's so portable. It's you know, the main unit is not that heavy, and you can take it anywhere. You can bring batteries with you if you want. You don't have to. All right. So this is my favorite of the Mega series. But for this one right here, I think it's just a great price. Let's see. Okay, let's bring it on down. All right. We're going to bring, hey, how you doing, McBean? Good to see you, brother. We're going to bring it on down, ladies and gentlemen, and then I'm going to talk to you about how you can figure out how many wattage you're going to need with a generator for your home. And then after that, we'll just take it away and we'll do a little bit of back and forth. All right. So if you have questions, save it until after I'm done showing you what I'm going to show you. That way I don't miss it. And if you do have questions later on, make sure that you put it all in caps. Okay. Let me go ahead and cover this so I don't forget. YTU, thank you. Could you please get together with Wallaby Mylar Bags and get an AP discount code for us? Excuse me. You know what? I don't have, excuse me. I'm not affiliated with Wallaby. I'm not affiliated with them. So I really can't get an AP discount code with them, YTU. Sorry about that. I tried working with them here a while back. Now their bags, their Mylar bags, in my opinion, are superior. They are outstanding bags, very high quality. Okay. But I tried getting with them and we can never, we can never get together. We can, you know, the time kept getting in the way. I guess life kept getting in the way. Whenever they had time, I didn't have time. Whenever I had time, they didn't have time, etc. And we were never ever able to click. So yeah, I can't get a code from them because I'm not affiliated with them. And that's the only way they give you a code. But if you can get a code from them, I believe Grayman Prepping is affiliated with Wallaby. I believe Grayman is. So go to Grayman Prepping's channel, check his description of his videos, and if he's affiliated with them, I'm sure he'll have a code for them there. Okay, but yeah, they're a great Mylar bag and storage company. Let's see, Mario, what's up? How you doing? Okay, let's see. Lola, how you doing? Okay, I'm going to bring it on down now. Let me go ahead and say hello to James Tyler. How you doing, brother? Before I finish bringing it on down. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right. We're making pretty good time. We're only 17 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about if you want to find out what size generator do I need, be it a solar generator, be it a regular gas generator, gasoline, liquid propane, natural gas, whatever, right? Diesel. What size? How much power do you need in order to run your home? Now, one thing that you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that during a power outage, especially if it's a power outage that's going to be extended in time, let's say a week or two or three, right? Or a month, let's say, which is what a lot of people are saying on the internet that's going to happen with cyber attacks or EMPs or stuff like that, right? What you need to understand is that it's not life as usual. All right, unless you're one of these billionaires or millionaires that has a bunker that has, a 5,000 gallon fuel tank, etc., buried and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to be life as usual for the layman, for your average person out there. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it is that I do whenever the power goes out, what I do in order to keep my house running. It's going to be those things that are critical to your home to run well, meaning that it's going to go ahead and sustain life. So, for example, in Alaska, in the winter time, it's very important that we have power, especially if you don't have a wood stove. I don't have a wood stove in my house. So I really need to make sure that I have a backup for power in order to make sure that I can operate the peripherals for my heater, for my home heater. My home heater is a Toyotomi 730, which is a fuel oil heater. It uses fuel oil for the heat source, for the energy, but it has a motherboard. It has a fuel pump in it. It has a fan, that it needs to run. When it starts up, it has a glow plug that's used to heat up the area before it starts pumping in the heating oil. So it has those peripherals that need electricity in order to run. So what I do is I make sure that I figure out all of those things that are critical to my house. So my heater is critical. My refrigerator is critical because we don't want the food in there to go bad. My freezer, same thing. It's critical. We don't want the food in there to go bad. We want to make sure that we have some lights. Okay. And I also like to make sure that I can run my water pump. That way, if we need to use the toilet or the sink or whatever, we can. Okay. So we have to take all of those things that we feel are critical to sustain our standard of living, even though it'll be a little bit lower for a period of time, figure out how much wattage those things use at their max, so at their surge. So let's say, for example, that you have a refrigerator, and normally it uses, let's say, 400 watts, right? When it's running the compressor and when it's running the fans and all that kind of stuff. Let's say it uses 400 watts, which is kind of high, really, to tell you the truth, for a refrigerator. But let's say that's what it is. Well, you don't want to find out what it uses when it's running steady. You want to find out what it uses when it surges. So when it first starts, and let's say it uses 650 watts at startup, and then it settles down in about 2 or 3 seconds to 400 or whatever it may be, right? That's what you want to find out. It's the surge, okay? So what I do is I get a calculator. I go to my Toyo. I've got 2 Toyos. I got one in my main house and I've got one under the house that keeps my utilities warm, my water tanks, my pipes, etc. under the house. All right. So I've got 2 of them. So those surge at about 400 watts, and I always round up. All right. I'm very conservative with the numbers, so I always round up to make sure that I'm giving myself plenty of space, plenty of room. Okay. So it's about 400 watts for each Toyo. So you're looking at 800 watts for both of my heaters. Okay. For my refrigerator and my freezer, they're both about the same. They both top out at about 600 watts. So you're looking at 1200 watts plus 800 watts. That's 2000 watts. Now, my water pump downstairs, that thing is like 1200 watts. Okay. So you're looking at about 3200 watts all together. And then if you take into consideration a few lights here and there, let's say 100 watts max. Okay. So you're looking at about what, 32, 33, let's say 3500 watts all together for me to be able to run everything that I need for my family to be comfortable during a power outage. Okay. So now what I do is let's say I'm at 3,500 watts. My rule of thumb is to always add about half of what I need on top of what I need. So I multiply that 3,500 times 1.5. So if you take 3,500 times 1.5, that comes out to about 5,200 watts. So for me to be comfortable running my house steady, I would need 5,200 watts of electricity coming in at all times. All right. And that's if I'm using one generator. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to buy me a generator. If I'm buying a gas generator, that's at least a 5,000, 5,500 watt generator. And that's going to cover all of the things that I need. And AP, how do you know how many watts your refrigerator uses or your Toyo stove uses or something like that? Well, I have this little device. This is a watt meter, okay? And you can pick this up on Amazon. And if you want to check out my Amazon storefront, this should be in there. I think they're like 19 bucks or 20 bucks. When I bought it, I think it was like 1995, but I've had it for a couple of years. So it might be 25 bucks now. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while, but this little watt meter, it's very easy to use. I do believe that I put out a video here a while back where I showed you how to use this. And I was talking about what I'm talking about now. And what this is you hook this into the wall, all right, into your AC. And then whatever device or appliance you have that you want to find out how many watts it uses continuously, you plug into this. And as soon as you plug this into the wall, it's going to light up. And it's going to tell you how many watts your appliance is using on a continuous basis. Once you're done, recording, it'll tell you what was the highest number of watts that it used at any one time. It'll tell you what the average was, and it'll tell you what the total was, and it'll tell you how much time you had this connected for. All right. So this little thing will tell you everything you need to know. So you go around your house and you hook this up to every appliance that you're going to need to run during a power outage, and you add up your highest wattage output at any one time. You add them all up. After that, if you want to, you don't have to. This is what I do. After you add up all the wattage that you're going to need to use during a power outage. You multiply it times 1.5, and that's the size generator you're going to need if you're going to use only one generator to power all that stuff. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? If that makes sense, give me a 1. Better than that, if that makes sense, give me a 1 on the chats, and make sure that you hit the thumbs up, all right, to see how many people that makes sense to, all right? Now, if you're like me, who's been very blessed and has reviewed about 1,000 solar generators, okay, I have one solar generator that's hooked up to my freezers, one for my refrigerator. I have one for each of my Toyo, and I have one that's hooked up for my water pump. So I have one for each. I'm covered very well in that area, obviously, right? So it depends on how many generators you're going to use. I always recommend that you first get a gasoline or a propane powered generator before you get a solar generator. But if you can get both either at the same time or at separate times, I believe that they both complement each other very well, especially if you're going to have a long-term power outage. A solar generator and a gas generator both complement each other very well. You actually end up saving gas if you use them both together. Okay, so that's how I do it, and that's what I would recommend for you to start with. If you don't have, if you don't have any idea on what you need, this little tool again, it's awesome. You can do it without this. If you know how to convert amperage and voltage into wattage, you don't need this tool, okay? So if you want to convert something into watts, it's very easy. Like, let's say you take a look at the back of your refrigerator and it says, okay, it uses 10 amps. Oh, well, what does that mean? It uses 10 amps, right? And I don't think that a refrigerator is going to use 10 amps because that's really a lot. But let's just say that, all right, to use a simple number. So how do you convert 10 amps into watts? Well, if you take your amps and you multiply it times the number of volts that are coming out of your AC outlet, all right, in the US, your AC outlet, I think is 110 or 120, but let's go with 120, easy, all right? So you take your amperage and you multiply it times your volts, that's how many watts that appliance uses. So if you ever wondering that this appliance says that it uses 5 amps, it uses 600 watts. Roughly 600 watts. Okay, so you don't have to have this. This is just very nice because it allows you to see what the surge is and what the mean or average is that you're using over time. That way you have a very good understanding of how much power you're going to need. Right, but that's how you convert amps and voltage into watts. It's very simple, so you don't need that tool. I would recommend that you get it. It's 20 bucks. 20 bucks is a great tool you can use all the time for whatever you need it for. Okay. Yeah, you see right here, SR says that his uses 3.30 amps. So all you do is you take 3.3. Let me see. I got my calculator right here. I'll tell you right now how many watts it uses. 3.3 times 120. So it uses 396 watts. 400 watts is what it uses. So for 400 watts, I'm assuming you're talking about a refrigerator. For 400 watts, I would get something that has an output of at least 600 watts, okay? Of at least 600 watts. But with a refrigerator, you have to be careful because a compressor usually has a pretty high surge, right? So I would find out what the surge is with the compressor, and that's what this is really good for. It gives you a very good reading on what the highest wattage output or wattage need was for that appliance. Okay. All right. So I think that's all I need to talk about. I think I explained that pretty well for those of you that are trying to figure out how big of a generator or solar generator you may need. That's how I figured out my entire house, and it's always worked. I've never had a problem with that. Right. So now anyone that may have any questions, either related to this subject matter or not, ladies and gentlemen, let's take it away. First, since we've had so many people join in since the beginning of the live stream, let me go ahead and remind you all, please forgive me if I do this a few times during the live stream, but I want everyone to know that this deal is available. That way, if they are in the market for a solar generator, they can take advantage of it. But right now, I think that YouTube is going to put us on a mandatory ad. All right, at minute number 30. So let me just say hello to Dale Cobb. How you doing, Dale? Maggie Smith, Janet McDonald. How you doing? Let's see. Let me see. Janet McDonald says today a friend helped storage unit clearing. I gave hybrid. Oh, you got a library. I hope that you got a hybrid light set. Hybrid lights are awesome. I love those things. Maggie Smith says my house is 744 square feet. Nice. Dale says all of this math is making me hungry. Okay, who's your pioneer says my well is directly wired. Okay, so it's hardwired to your breaker box. How do I hook up my generator? I'm not going to tell you how to do it because it may or may not be up to code. All right. All right. It's not very difficult, but this is what you can do. It will cost you an hour's worth of an electrician. Call an electrician. It shouldn't take him but an hour to also splice in a plug where you can actually plug in the well, whether it's 240 or whether it's 120. When I used to live on a property that had well, it actually had a shallow well with 120 service, 120 volts. Okay, so I was lucky in that aspect, right? But if it's a 240, you can still hook up 240 to one of these OUPES. I'm not saying that you have to buy one of these OUPES, but you can have a generator that has 240 on it also, that has 30 amp. So you can do that. Or if you know how to do it yourself, how to splice in a cord with a plug, then you can. But I can't do that here because this is the internet, Hoosier. And even though I'm just trying to help you, someone else may misinterpret it. Jeff Gregory. Okay, let me cover this real quick. That way you all know in case you just jumped in. Anyone that's in the market for a solar generator, OUPES gave me a 20% off code that is good from now through Sunday night, March the 3rd, only for the OUPES 2400. And once you use my code, it's going to give you, which is Alaska, is going to give you an additional 20% off their already discounted price. And that $879 for that OUPES 2400 comes in at about 39 cents per watt hour, right? Again, that's going to be good till Sunday night, okay? So I'll probably mention it one or two more times before the end of the live stream. Hopefully anyone that's looking for a solar generator can get that at a good deal. Okay, this is a good question, Betty. The reason I have an apocalypse wood stove, okay? Meaning that I have a wood stove that I can install, in an hour or two in my house if I have to, because there's just nothing else, okay? I have plenty of heat backup that will last me years, all right? I have plenty of wood outside too that I can use a wood stove for. But believe it or not, next year we're going to install a pellet stove, okay? But it's because, and that's going to be like a novelty that we use that pellet stove for. It's not to save money or as a prep or anything like that. But the reason I don't have a wood stove is because when I built my house, I really wasn't thinking about a wood stove. You have to understand, when I first built this house, I was still in the military. I spent about a year and a half coming back and forth to this property from base, building our house, because I knew that I was going to retire from the Army up here, and we already knew that we were going to stay here to live after I retired, and I did not want to get into a 30-year mortgage. The last thing I ever wanted to do was get into a 30-year note and owe the man for another 30 years after spending pretty much my entire adult life taking orders from people and kind of like being a slave, you know what I mean, to the system. I didn't want to continue that. I wanted to be debt free, and I knew that building our own home would be a path to being debt free. I wasn't debt free when I finished building the house because I owed some money on a credit card that I used in order to buy supplies for it. But anyways, it was the path for us being debt free because it freed up my income. It freed up my income to pay all our bills off in a hurry because I didn't have a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 note with a bank for a house, for a box that you can live in and put stuff in, right? So when I built my home, I did not build it with a wood stove in mind. I built my home pretty much uh, to the specifications of my skill set, which wasn't very high. My skill set for building when I built my house was not very high. I only understood and knew the basics, right? Knowing how to put a staircase in took me an entire day until I figured out that it's just a Pythagorean theorem, right? That a staircase is pretty much figuring out the C. You know, A, B, you already know. You need to figure out the C. You know, the lead and the rise, I guess you can call it, right? So like I said, I built a house that was suitable to my skill set, and building one where I can put a wood stove in it was not in there. So I didn't, right? And I kind of wish that I would have. We still can put a wood stove in there, but during the worst of times, right? So I have what I call this an apocalypse wood stove, which means that it's the last thing that I can possibly use because there's nothing else, and I can install it in my home and safely run it to heat the home and keep us alive, right? But it's not a convenient way to live because there's not that much clearance, and giving it the clearance that I need doesn't really leave too much room for us to live in that area. So anyways, that's why I don't have a wood stove, right? Or I have one, but not one that's installed. How you doing, new? All right. So anyone that may have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, put them up. You know what? There is also something else that I wanted to show you all. Let me see. Share screen. Where is it at? I think this is it. Let's see. All right, give me a second. Boom. Yep. So I'm not sure if you saw the video that I put out earlier this week, but SimPure also has the Berkey-like water filtration system, gravity type water filtration system, at an awesome deal. So if you're in the market for the SimPure membrane, it's got a UV light on the spigot. Go check out my video that I put up where I reviewed this and I show you how it works. In my opinion, it's a great water filtration system, and the price is awesome. And I think that those filters do a great job. All right. So they even have a $50 off code off of the price that they already have on sale. So go check that out if you're in the market for that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, these are the times when we find these things on sale that I like to advertise. Why? Because this is usually the time of the year where a lot of people, there's not a high demand on these things this time of the year. There's not a high demand on solar generators this time of the year, on water filtration, on flashlights, on camping stoves. Not a high demand. So usually there's good sales. So this is a time of year that is good to get that stuff. But anyways, those are on sale. Take a look at the links that I've left in the description of my videos. And if you haven't watched that video where I reviewed that U3 water filtration system, on that video, I actually go over how much snow you actually need in order to melt so that you can survive for a day during the worst of times. But let's see. Hey, Big Bad John is in the house. How you doing, Big Bad John? A member for 28 months straight now. Things are escalating. Pay attention. Thanks, Big Bad John. Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you. All right, let's see. Okay, yeah, no, Jeff, how you doing, Jeff? Yeah, ask any question, ladies and gentlemen, because there may be someone here who you just never heard. I have the T-Fall. Jeff asks, what pressure canner do I have? I have the T-Fall 22 quart. Now, I have 3 pressure canners, but my favorite is the T-Fall 22 quart pressure canner. And it's because it's a quiet pressure canner, and it's kind of dummy proof also. Right? It's a very well-built pressure canner, I believe. I've used the heck out of mine, and it's still going. Even the gasket, I haven't even needed to replace my gasket since I got that, so it's still going really good. But I also have an All-American, and I also have a Presto. The All-American and the Presto, they're fine. Nothing wrong with them. I just like the ease of use of my T-Fall, and you know, it's the one that I keep in my house ready to use at all times. The other ones I keep in cold storage, I guess you can call it. But yeah, I have it's a T-Fall 22 quart. Let's bring it down. You know what? D. Foley asked. Great question, by the way. And if you didn't see my prepping on the cheap video today, go check it out because, man, I'll tell you what. If I knew about the Fold and Go Coleman stove, 2-burner stove, before I purchased that Genesis, I would have never purchased the Genesis. Not saying that Jetboil Genesis is not a good stove. It is an outstanding and very high quality stove. But the thing is that the bang that you get for your buck buying that Coleman Fold and Go, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it. So D. Foley asked, is it possible to use a 20-pound propane tank on the Coleman 2-burner? I'm pretty sure that it is, as long as you use a regulator. So if you use a regulator, I'm pretty sure that it is. However, do your own research, read the owner's manual. In all honesty, I didn't even read the owner's manual on that Fold and Go because it's such a simple unit. Such a simple unit, such a good price. You pretty much get the exact same capacity that you get with a $300 stove at a price that's about anywhere from 1/4 to 1/10 of that $300 stove, or roughly 1/10, maybe 1/9, right? It's a great stove, I think. A great gift to give to someone, and I'll break the ice on preparedness. Canna Club Chicago, how are you doing? Good to see you. Nancy K. Let me see something real quick. I don't know. Someone asked, why did I stop reading Big Bad John's message? But this is the only message that I've seen Big Bad John leave. Things are escalating. Pay attention to this guy. Well, I mean, thank you. That's a compliment from you, so thank you. Unless I missed something. If I missed something, Big Bad John, go ahead and put it back up, okay? Let's see. Oh, I'll tell you what, Jeff. If you get that T-Fall, the 22 quart, you won't regret it. I think it's a great pressure canner. It really is. It's a great pressure canner at a good price too. Last time I checked, they were like $109 or something like that. My wife and I sent one to my sister-in-law here not that long ago. I think maybe it was for around Christmas time. We sent her one of those, and yeah, I think it was like 109, $120, something like that. Let's see. Salty Dog, what's up? How you doing? What was the BTU on the gas one stove? Ooh, the gas one stove? Man, I don't remember, Salty Dog. I remember reviewing the gas one stove, which is a great stove. That was a butane stove, one that worked off of the butane cans, you know, the 8.1 ounce cans. Actually, you don't put it on like this, you just clip it on. Man, I want to say it was 15,000 BTU because it was an awesome BTU for that stove. But that's a single burner stove also. And that single burner stove, that gas one, was about the same price as that Coleman Fold and Go. So even if I had to choose between that gas one and the Coleman Fold and Go, I would still go with the Coleman Fold and Go. I have to tell you the truth. I just think you get so much bang for your buck with that stove from Coleman. But that gas one is an outstanding stove as well. So I can't say anything bad about it. All right, bringing it back down. Let's see. Let's see. Any more questions? Oh, Tim Hardison. So Tim Hardison says that Amazon offers a hose so that you can use the 20-pound bottle. I'm assuming that you're talking about using the 20-pound bottle on that Coleman stove. Okay. Usually, if you like click on it as if you were going to buy it, if you scroll down on Amazon, it usually shows you things that people buy together with it, and that may be there. But that's something that's pretty simple or easy to figure out, to research and see if you can use that. Sunset Gazing, how you doing? Let's see, Sunset Gazing. So the OUPES code Alaska on the 20% off is only That's correct, Sunset Gazing. That 20% off for the Opus 2400 is only for the 2400. That's it. All right, it's only for the 2400. The thing is I got a hold of my rep at Opus because I got a couple of emails asking when's their next sale, and I asked them, "Hey, can you give me a 20% code off?" And they said, "Well, we're going to have a sale here on the 7th of March, but we can give you a 20% code off of the 2400." And it ends up being the very best price, I believe, even better than Black Friday that I've seen, but only for the Opus 2400. I'm assuming that they may have a pretty high inventory on those. But I was thankful that they gave me the 20% off on my favorite legacy model of the Opus, because that 2400, in my opinion, is a great solar generator, which is right here. Where is it? Right there. It's a great solar generator. Okay. And for 39 cents a watt hour, you can't beat that. That's an outstanding price. Oh, really? At a girl prepping. I'm very sorry to hear that. Well, I mean, we try to make light of dark, and they say that whenever a door closes, another one opens. But I mean, I hope you're gonna be all right. And you have your preps too. Okay, you have your preps, and that's what preps are for. Ladies and gentlemen, more people use their preps for regular everyday things that happen than for the end of the world or the apocalypse, right? Which is how we preppers like to be. They like to portray us as being of that mindset. But yeah, you have your preps, and the very best of luck to you. I hope that you're looking for something that is pretty comparable to what you already have. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs going forward. I mean, a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a heck of a shame what's going on in our nation right now. I just read an article. Maybe, oh, I have to talk about that too. Maybe I'll put it on my news video. That your average unlawful person that entered into our country from the southern border. I guess we can say it that way, right? But you know what I mean. They're getting about $20,000 a month in entitlements, ladies and gentlemen, while your average American is struggling just to keep 500 bucks in the bank and to put food on the table. But I don't want to turn this live stream into something really negative, because I'm having a really good time talking about positive stuff and talking about power generation and how you can make sure that you can keep your power on during an outage. We'll save that other stuff maybe for my news video this weekend, which brings up something that I have to inform you of. I'm going to shift my news video. For those of you that don't know, I have 2 news videos a week, meaning that I cover a lot of the things that are in the news in one video. I compile them in one video 2 days a week, right? There's probably one or 2 other days during the week where it's not necessarily a news video, but like a commentary video where I pick one subject and I talk about it in depth for 15, 20 minutes, okay? And then I try to have a prepping on the cheap video, at least one a week. And then I try to have a review video if I have a review, something to review as well. And then, of course, our live stream today and our live stream that we have on Monday with Gray Man Prepping, which this coming Monday, I believe is going to be on this channel. All right. You want to catch that live stream with me and Gray Man Prepping because it's a lot of fun. All right. So Saturdays, it's my family day. I don't come to the bunker on Saturdays. So all of the videos that you see me put up on Saturdays, like news videos, I've already had them done on Friday, and I set them to release on Saturday because I don't even come in here on Saturday. It's family day. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing my news videos on Sunday, and then instead of on Tuesday, I'll do it on Wednesday. So I'm going to shift it to the right by one day on both videos. So it's going to be Sunday for my news videos and Wednesday for my other news video. I do 2 a week. All right. So tomorrow on Saturday, I may put out like a 1-minute video for tomorrow for those people that did not catch the live stream, so that in order to tell them about the sale that Opus is having so that they can take advantage of it, because it's going to be over Sunday night. All right. So I'll be talking about that whenever I put out a video between now and Sunday. That way, whoever's in the market for a solar generator can check it out, because again, it's a great price. Let's see. Mike Patino. How are you, Mike? Good to see you here. Rudy, a massive windstorm took out power here in northern New York. My Opus Mega 5 and the two 2400s saved the day. Power was out for 30 hours. Mike, that is awesome. That is why we prepare, ladies and gentlemen. For Mike, it wasn't the end of the world, but guess what? He kept his house running during the winter in New York during a 30-hour power outage. And that's what it's for. That's what you're going to use your preps for 99% of the times, ladies and gentlemen. It's just for everyday stuff. And it makes me very happy that you were able to get through it with ease because you had, what you needed. So that's awesome. Thank you very much for letting me know that. That's awesome. Okay. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. T-Fall is on sale right now at Amazon with a coupon about 84 bucks. Now, if you want to support the channel, use my Amazon storefront link. You can use it for whatever shopping you have to do. You don't have to buy anything that I have on there, but you can go window shopping and check all of the things that I recommend. And that's the way to support the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't cost you a penny more. All right. It just takes about 3 cents or 2 cents out of every dollar from Jeff Bezos and sends it to me. All right. And that really does help. Many hands make little work. So thank you for that. Hey, thank you very much, GM, by the way. Thank you for that. You're very kind. You know what, Renee, I know you're asking Jeff, do you get a black char on your canners when you use your outdoor cooker? I'm guessing that if you're using a wood cooker, you might get some carbon buildup on there. But if you're using like a propane cooker, probably not. But then again, I've never canned outside. Okay. Hey, look at this. Hey, thank you very much, guys. Big Bad John, thank you. You're going to make me blush, okay? I'm going to go ahead and agree with the best mods and info and the best community as well. Thank you very much, Big Bad John. That's awesome. Thank you, man. Let's see. SR. Thank you, SR. Some reason I couldn't send my question on super. Really? Hey, SR, put your question in all caps. I know I've answered at least one question from you today, but put your question in all caps and I'll try to catch it. I'll try to look for it. And thank you very much to both of you for the super chat. Truly do appreciate it. Let's see. I'm looking here. Let's see. Oh, Captain Ron, how are you doing? If you were to guess, when would you guess the lights would go out? 1 year? Excuse me. I'm sorry. The thing is, Captain Ron, is that it doesn't really matter to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say 1 year or 3 years or 5 years or even in a month or two, because, putting a date on stuff in a way is kind of like trying to install fear into someone. Now, I believe that there will be a lights out event, be it a cyber attack or be it an EMP, which I think is the least likely, or even a CME. I believe that one of those 3 scenarios will play through. All right. When? I don't know. But that's why we prepare. That is why we prepare ahead of time. That way we don't have to worry about when it happens. For example, I could care less if I went to Costco tomorrow and saw that there's no toilet paper left. I don't care. I got plenty. Okay. That's why you prepare ahead of time, right? So that you don't have to worry about timing anything. It's not a way of trying to divert from your question, but it's just that to me, it doesn't really make any sense or too much sense to try to put a time on when something's going to happen. Do I believe that it's going to happen? Eventually, yes, it will happen eventually. 100% guaranteed, right? Because we are way overdue for a coronal mass ejection that is the size of the one that happened in 1859 in September, I believe, which was the Carrington event. Now, today we are much more technically advanced than what we were in 1859. And we have a lot of satellites out there in space. And a solar storm of that magnitude will surely take out those satellites. They are not hardened enough, in my opinion, to survive that. All right. So it's going to happen eventually. Is are you prepared for when that happens eventually? And if you're not, that's okay. Just slow and steady does win the race. It will put you at the advantage over those people that were just thinking about preparing and never did so. Uh, Jeff says, I bought a couple of those Kovar stoves. I think I know what you're talking about. The ones that I reviewed on my, not this last prepping on the cheap, but the other ones, the ones that were like the jet boil small ones. Man, I'll tell you what, you can't beat that deal. You cannot beat the deal for those jet boil style stoves that I reviewed. 30, I think it was 32 bucks. Man, great deal. I'm having a lot of fun doing the prepping on the cheap videos, ladies and gentlemen, because I mean, I get to find stuff that will still do the job, and it's a lot cheaper than getting the fancy stuff. So it gives people the opportunity to actually consider prepping if they're not prepping because of socioeconomic status. Okay, I think I answered the questions about the light. Okay. Teresa Buchanan, how are you? Do the Simpure filters fit the Berkey gravity system? I'm pretty certain that they do. I actually just ordered, I think it was 6 filters for that U3 because I like them so much. So I'm pretty sure that they do because they're very like the Berkey. They're like the same shape and everything. And I think that the quality is outstanding for those filters. For how much you pay for them, man, I think it's just a great price. My new kitchen, well, my wife's new kitchen is almost done. So this weekend, I'm going to work on the electrical and the plumbing. And when I have the plumbing done, I'm actually going to do a video showing you how I install the reverse osmosis water filtration system that Simpure sent me. They sent me a tankless one. I've never used it before. Little skeptical about it because I've never used it before, but I'm going to install it and I'm going to put it on video to show you all, and then we'll do a TDS, total dissolved solid test, and see how things come out with that. I'm pretty sure it'll come out just fine because what a lot of people don't understand about a reverse osmosis system, it's very simple technology for the time that we live in. It's very simple technology, right? So it's not something that you can really mess up, is what I'm saying. Man, that is a great price. $1.20. You remember when pork shoulder was like 79 cents a pound? Remember that, ladies and gentlemen? 59 cents a pound on sale. And now we're like, man, $1.25 a pound. That is great, right? That's called the frog in boiling water, right? Strategy. How we've little by little let go of those old prices and are now accustomed to the new prices, like I've talked about for the last couple of years, that we will become accustomed to these new high prices because they make them seem like they're low because they brought them down from their really high prices. Like, for example, remember, well, I'm not going to tell you remember because this is here in Alaska. I remember when Costco first opened here. I think it's about 4 years ago now. I had never, ever had ribeye steak before. Believe it or not, I would never pay for it. I'd be like, I ain't paying $7 a pound for that. $6.99 a pound. You got to be kidding me. I'll never do that. That's how much ribeye cost at Costco when they first opened up here. $6.99 a pound. And I refused to pay for it. One day, I was like, I don't know what in the world it is that makes this so expensive, but I told my wife, I was like, you want to buy one of these packs and try it? And she was like, yeah. So we bought it. I bit the bullet. I paid that $6.99 a pound for that ribeye that Costco was selling. And we were like, oh my God, this is delicious. It was the best steak I've ever had in my life. It really was. And this is just steak from Costco. Nothing special about it. Me telling you how it was when I ate ribeye that I bought at Tommy G's, that's a different story. That was even better. But at that point, it was the best I ever had. $6.99 a pound, ladies and gentlemen. And then during the health crisis, it went all the way up to like $18.99 a pound. And I was telling people on here on my live streams, I was telling people on my videos, the prices are going to come down a little bit, but they'll never go back down to what they were. So they went all the way up to $18.99 a pound. And now if you buy the ribeye like already trimmed, not if you buy them in bulk like I normally do, because back then I was just buying them trimmed out. So now if you buy your ribeye trimmed out, it's like 13 or 14 bucks a pound, right? So it's still about $4-5 a pound less than the highest that it was during the health crisis. Okay. But now people aren't really complaining about the prices very much, right? Because they came back down, but they'll never ever go back down to what they used to be. Excuse me. Inflation only has one way to go, ladies and gentlemen, and that's how they get you. Look at gasoline. I mean, gasoline, I remember before the health crisis, it was running about a buck 60, a buck 50 a gallon, right? And then it went here, it went all the way up to like $5.15 a gallon, right? And then it came down to like 350. Now it averages around 350, 325, and no one complains about paying $3 a gallon anymore, right? Because it went all the way up to like $5.15, $5.25. Now people are like, well, at least it's not $5 and a quarter. I'm all right paying 3.25, 350 now. But they don't remember that just a few years back, it was a buck 50. See, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe that we have found a new floor in gasoline. Now, I know that here in Alaska, it's a little bit more than what it is in the lower 48, but I think that in Alaska, the floor for gasoline is about $3, that we won't see gas under $3 again. Because inflation only has one way to go. And all of the inflation that was created during the health crisis, meaning all of the money that was printed, ladies and gentlemen, that hasn't even made it out to the economy yet. Why do you think that the Dow Jones is at 40,000 or 39,000? That's where a lot of the inflation is hanging out, is in the stock market. A lot of that inflation that was created during the health crisis is hanging out in the price of cars. It's hanging out in the price of houses. What's going to happen when all of those things get liquidated? Where's that cash going to go? It's going to go into consumer goods, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to go into precious metals. And that's when life is going to really get super expensive. So when I say that inflation only has one way to go, it's because it only has one way to go. That's up. Right? Even during times of disinflation, let's say, for example, that we have like a scenario like the Great Depression, right? So the Great Depression was a deflationary depression, meaning that there wasn't that much money in the system. The price of things actually came down, but also did the price of labor, right? So even though the price of things came down, the price of labor came down to an extent that it still cost you more time to buy the same thing. Now, let me try to explain this a little bit better. Let's say that during the beginning of and I'm only making this up as an example, okay? I'm not saying this happened. I'm only making this up as an example. Let's say that before the Great Depression started, let's say that you can buy a loaf of bread for 30 minutes of your time of labor, okay? Remember, I'm just making these numbers up. So before the Great Depression, everything was great, was the roaring 20s. You can buy a loaf of bread for 30 minutes of your time, okay? And a loaf of bread, let's say, cost $1. In the middle of the Great Depression, when things were at their toughest, a loaf of bread maybe only cost 10 cents, but now it cost you an hour of your labor. Now you were only making 10 cents an hour, meaning that, yeah, the prices came down, but so did the price of labor. And now you're having to work even more hours or more minutes to buy that same stuff you were able to buy before. Okay. I hope you can understand that scenario with the numbers that I use, because they're not realistic to that time era. I just used them because they're simple numbers that would make sense. Well, Angela says lights out before November. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it kind of makes sense. All right. We all know why before November. There has to be a reason why there is not a presidential contest, right? There has to be a reason why they do not have a presidential contest if they want to complete the destruction of the United States of America. Anyone that doesn't think that this administration is its goal is to destroy America, then you really need to wake up, because that's what the goal is, ladies and gentlemen. It's what the goal has been for a very long time. All right. The Cloward and Piven strategy has been at play for the last 60, 70 years. And the destruction of America has been at play for at least the last 16 years or so, I would say. Okay. Because the Orange Man Bad, he wasn't supposed to be there for those 4 years. All right. He wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be someone else that could carry on the destruction of the United States of America, after they took the torch from the one that started it. All right. Anyways, I digress. Let's see. Let's bring it down. Captain Ron says, Captain Ron is always ready. That's awesome. That's good. Oh, yeah, that's a great unit, Jeff. Yes, you're talking about the smallest one. It weighs like 1.6 ounces. That is a great little stove, by the way. And I think that when I reviewed that little stove, I think I cooked rice on it, believe it or not. I'm pretty sure that's the one you're talking about. $12. Not bad. Now, you're either talking about that one, the $12, or that one was $12.99. You may be talking about the other one that I reviewed that was $11.99 that used the can butane, the actual can butane. That's also a great stove. All of these cheaper stoves, believe it or not, are, in my opinion, just as good as the expensive ones, because they'll do the job that they're supposed to do. They're just not fancy. So I know which one you're talking about now, Jeff. It's the cassette stove, they're called. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome stove. Let's see. Mario says, I picked the $12 pocket stove just to barter and give us gifts. Yeah, that's an awesome little gift to give. Very nice gift to give. And the thing is, that little cassette stove, you can cook a full one pot meal with that stove easily. So yeah, it's very usable. It's not like a novelty. Even that little itty bitty stove, the smallest one, the 1.6 ounce stove, you can cook a pot of rice on that stove. And it's 1.6 ounces is all it weighs. Do I have it here? Yeah, I have it right here. Check it out. So you'll know. Now, this is not the cassette stove that Jeff was talking about, but check this out. This is how big that little stove is. Look, I cooked a pot of rice on this stove, right? And it uses butane, but you can also put an adapter on it to use propane, the 1 pound propane bottle. So for $12, this was $12.99. It weighs 1.6, 1.7 ounces. And guess what it does, ladies and gentlemen? It does what a stove is supposed to do. I just think that this is a great little stove. It's so small and compact, and it does such a great job. So yeah, awesome. And that's what I really like about doing the prepping on the cheap videos, is because I'm using things that are like new to me that I haven't had before, and I'm finding out, and hopefully people are finding out, that you don't have to buy the real fancy stuff. Some things I recommend that you buy the ones that are the ones that you can afford, the best that you can afford. But some things like that, they work just fine. How you doing, Terry? Good to see you. Okay, let's see. Deborah Ramirez, how are you doing? Good to see you. Are you going to have a garden this year? If I do, it'll be mainly for the chickens and maybe for some cucumbers for the house. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me see. Jesse says ribeye is $12.99 here in Northeast Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. Sorry. Yeah, that's about what it is here. If you have them trim it for you, if you buy the entire slab, like I showed on one of my previous videos, I think it comes out to a little under $12 per pound. And I don't see it going below that. You know, not a lot below that. If it goes maybe $11, whatever, up and down, $1 here, $1 there, but it's not going to go back to $6.99 a pound the way it used to be. Yeah, Jeff, you remember when you can get brisket for like dirt cheap and now it's so expensive? Incredible. Chicken wings are ridiculous. I can't believe how much chicken wings cost nowadays. It's like 250, $3 a pound for chicken wings, which is mostly bones. Oh man, Mario, that is such a great point because I was actually thinking about that today. I was you know the deal guy on YouTube. He like says, and these are the things that you need to get on Costco this month or whatever. You know that guy? Love that guy. He was showing the deals they have on Costco, and like the things that are less expensive than the last time he reviewed them are things we don't need. Flat screen TVs, computers, gadgets that we don't really need to survive. But you go ahead and shift that over to the things that we do need, like food, right? Gas, things like that. Those things are more expensive. So yeah, you hit it right on. You hit that nail right on the head because that's right on. Let me see. Shirley Covey asks, "What happens to a solar generator during an EMP?" I have no idea. It's just the honest to God truth. I have no idea what would happen. I think that if you're concerned about that, maybe build a small Faraday cage where you can put your solar generator and other electronics in. That way you can feel comfortable with it happening with an EMP or a coronal mass ejection, i.e., happening, because I really don't know. A lot of people ask that, but the thing is that I don't know. I mean, we just really don't know what's going to happen if we do have some kind of an EMP or a coronal mass ejection. All right, bringing it down some. Oh, geez. Jeff, that's kind of funny. Go back to the basement. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, Jeff, I got it. The cassette stove. Oh, goodness. Evita, after your video about the price of silver, I had a terrifying and uncomfortable talk with a millennium who admitted he does not watch the news or worries about the future. That's okay. It's called natural selection, Evita. That's not being mean. That's just the truth, right? It's just called natural selection. And you know what? I almost envy those people. I almost envy them because uh me, I can, you know how sometimes when you say you can't unsee what you saw or you can't unhear what you heard, it's too late for people like us that are awake and are in the know. But for people that live their lives with rose colored glasses on, they actually live a pretty happy life. you know it's just that maybe if something tragic ever does happen, to where their standard of living is greatly reduced, those kinds of people tend to be the ones that suffer the most, right? So, like I said, it's just natural selection. Tim Hardison, how you doing, Tim? Can you do more of your meat canning videos or any canning? It helps a lot. Go check out Sutton's Days. Sutton's Days, I call her the queen of canning, right? Because she knows what she's doing. Uh, the thing is, Tim, that I only do like a canning video when I have to. So the reason that I did a canning video here not too long ago, I think I was canning that pork shoulder butt. um, it's because I had some space in my pantry that I can fill with 7-quart jars. So when we were at Costco, I asked my wife, I was like, "Hey, you know what? We have room for a load of pressure canning. Let's pick this up and we can fill in that gap." So the next time that I need something in the pantry that I can pressure can, like beans, probably beans will be the next thing that I do. I'll do a video about that. But I don't just do it to do a video. I do a video if I'm going to do it anyways because I need to. But I do have a pressure canning playlist that you can check out if you like. Right, where I pressure can ground beef, I pressure can I believe I pressure can some meatloaf, which is delicious. I done that. a few things like that. Angela ask, where can I find a link to your tiny stove? If you go to my Amazon storefront link, it's under the description of every one of my videos, including this one. It says Amazon storefront. Click on that link. There is a space there where it says everything that I recommend. You click on that and you're going to see everything that I recommend, in addition to all of the things that I have done a prepping on the cheap video for. So you'll find that stove on there as well. And it'll bring you right to it. Okay. And I do appreciate the support to anyone that does use my Amazon link. I know that we have a love-hate relationship with Amazon, but in all honesty, especially if you live in an area like here, like in Alaska, Amazon is probably where we get about 80% of the stuff that we consume here in the house. I even get my mealworms for the chickens from Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. So it just is what it is. Yeah, JT, the deal guy. Have you ever seen a picture of his family? He's got a little girl that's so cute. She looks just like him. And I believe they just had a little boy like less than a year ago. So, yeah, that guy is such a good guy, such a wholesome guy. And I love his energy when he does his videos. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Lily Bishop, that's a great. That is a inexpensive Faraday cage, and it will work. Let me see. The only thing that I would do is I would also ground it. So I would like put a hole, drill a hole in the bottom lip, and grab me some copper wire and attach it to a rod and drive it in the ground, and that will ground it. So, anyways, Lily says I am going to use an aluminum trash can, line it with some cardboard boxing, and put my electronics in it. And that's just a makeshift, a simple way of making a Faraday cage. And it should work as far as it keeping any kind of signal from getting inside or any frequencies from getting inside. And the thing about an EMP, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I say that I think it's the least likely thing to happen is because, you know, a country, employing an EMP over us, that's an act of war. And if we found ourselves as the United States of America having had an EMP employed over us, which disrupts our electricity for long term, what people don't understand is that they have contingencies for that. We have submarines that are always in patrol that have nuclear warheads that can decimate any country pretty much in the world. And I believe that if an EMP occurred to us, I don't know about this administration, to tell you the truth, if they would retaliate, because I think that they're bought and paid for. I digress. But I think that if we had an EMP deployed on us, that any one of our subs that's out patrolling the oceans would have no problem with targeting whatever country it is that it needed to target. So I don't think that a country would take that chance. It's just what I think. Let me see. David Burdett. How you doing, David? What kind of radios do you like for information during? I just have basic little radios. I have some basic little handheld radios that take double A's. I have a couple of little emergency radios that have the emergency frequencies programmed into them. I have a few cheap Bofangs. I actually just talked to my wife about maybe her and I getting into a ham radio course that they give here in Fairbanks so that we can get our license and get serious about ham radio. So we'll see how that goes. But I just have the basics. I'm not an expert in any of that stuff, and I don't like to pretend that I am. So that's why I don't talk about that kind of stuff very much. You don't see me do videos like on radios. You don't see me do videos on firearms. Even though I was in the military, I'm not an expert in firearms, but what I believe is I believe that you should have a way to defend yourself, to defend your family, your property, right? And whatever you choose to defend yourself, your family, your property with should be something that you know how to service, that you can field strip, that you can clean, that you can put to use, that you can employ it in a manner which you don't have to think about it, but instead that you use your what you call it, muscle memory, meaning that you practiced and you don't have to think about it, because during stressful situations you don't think about what you're going to do, you just do it. So, I believe that stuff and I practice that. So, any firearm that I have, I know how to service it. I know how to field strip it. I know how to use it, but I'm not an expert with it. A lot of people think, oh, you were in the military, you should know everything about it. No, that's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yeah, you should definitely know how to use your equipment. That's what I've often said, that if you purchase something for prepping, it's not something that you have to use all the time, but make sure that you use it so that you can understand how it works. And if you ever need to use it in real life, in IRL, that way and you're confident that you can deploy it and use it whenever you need to. But you don't just buy something, leave it in the box and put it away. You get it, you open it, you read the instructions, you learn how to use it, maybe use it a few times if it's not something that you're going to use on a daily basis, and then put it away. And then if you ever need to bring it out, you already know, you're confident that you can employ that and have it do whatever it is that you need it to do. So no such thing as having to be an expert in everything. B. Jones asks, have you vacuum sealed dry food such as rice and canning jars? Absolutely. I have a whole bunch of videos on that kind of stuff. I think I've for those of you that are OGs here, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've probably put stuff away for long-term storage in about every way that you can. I've dry canned, I've pressure canned, I've water bathed, I've put stuff in Mylar bags, I've freeze dried. Um, uh, what else? Obviously, pressure can. I think I already said that. But I think I've done it in every way that you possibly can. I've done it in bulk. I've done it in small amounts. So yeah, if there's something you're looking for, I'm sure there's a video out there. I've done all that stuff. Let's see, bringing it down some. Okay. Laura, how are you doing, Laura La Montanaro? Man, that is a good one, Laura. Laura La Montanaro. Am I saying that right? Welcome. Pure Blood Prepper, how you doing? You know what? I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes just saying hello to a few of you that maybe I missed, and then we're going to start closing it out. Let's see. Let's see here. Barry Happy. How you doing, Barry? AP, why aren't you growing much of a garden? Well, what I'm growing, most of it is probably gonna go to the chickens. I'll probably do some lettuce, and we'll just see, because I'm gonna have a very busy summer. We have about 3 major projects that we have to do this summer. But for those of you that don't know, I'm diabetic, and I pretty much about 95, I would say, to 98% of what I eat is nothing but protein and fats, right? Being that I've been doing this for a little over a year now, I allow myself a ketovore lifestyle during the weekend. So during the week, I eat mainly nothing but protein and fats, okay? And then during the weekends, I allow myself to cheat by giving myself like 30 grams of carbs per day during the weekend. And I'll maybe eat a salad. I'll maybe eat something that I haven't had in a while, like maybe a half a cup of rice or something with beans, which I had a couple of weeks ago and it was delicious. Hadn't had it in like a year. All right, it was so good. I had it with black beans, which is my favorite. But a lot of the vegetables that I used to eat, when I eat them now, they just make me feel bloated. They make me feel really bloated, and I don't feel good when I eat them. So mainly meats and fats, and then during the weekends, if I want to have something that I haven't had in a long time, I'll have a little bit here, a little bit there. Once in a while, I'll have a salad, but to tell you the truth, I just don't really care for salads anymore. But I do still like a few things. Like I love cucumbers, and they agree with me. All right. I do like some carrots now and then, as long as they're cooked. They agree with me if they're cooked. If they're not, they don't. But maybe some things like that. But whatever we do grow, I might grow a lot of microgreens to give it to the chickens. It's going to be a good way to feed the chickens some high nutrient stuff, and that's not going to cost me a lot because I already have the seeds, right? And dirt's not that expensive here. Yes, Louisiana hot sauce right there. Somebody sent me that. That's a 32-ounce bottle. Yeah, I think Jeff Hansen, AP, do you ground the garbage can for an EMP? Yes, I think I talked about that. That's one of the things what I do is I would ground it with a rod. And you can get a copper rod at Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. All right, let's bring it on down. Okay, we're bringing it on down. All right, we are down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you one last time that Simpure still has that gravity filter on sale. That's number one. And number two is, where is it at? Number two is the 2400, the OUPES 2400 solar generator. If you're in the market for that, this is the very best price I believe they've ever had. All right. And they're giving me a coupon code for 20% off their already discounted price all the way through Sunday of this weekend, through the 3rd of March. So if you're in the market for one of those, like I said, it's probably the best price you're ever going to see on this. Right. And that's something I had to ask for. So I hope that people take advantage of it. Uh, I was actually David Burdett. It's funny. I was actually at the coin shop today. The first week of the month is my dollar cost averaging week. So my wife and I went over there and we picked a few ounces of silver to dollar cost average. Sometimes we can get a good amount, sometimes we can't, but we dollar cost average either way. All right. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. A quick safety brief. You worked very hard this week. Don't do something crazy to ruin your life. Do not drink and drive. If you're going to drink, have a great time. Be safe about it. Don't drive. Get an Uber, get a taxi, get a designated driver. Worst case scenario, wake someone up at 2 o'clock in the morning if you have to so that they can come and pick you up. All right. So be safe up there. Remember that my news video is going to be coming out on Sunday and Wednesday instead of Saturday and Tuesday. I'm shifting it to the right by one day. That way I don't have to bother with coming into the bunker on Saturdays because that's my family day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all of your support always. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And if there's anything that you want me to review for prepping on the cheap, send me an email. All right, send me an email and maybe it'll make it to one of my review videos. That's where I've gotten a couple of my ideas from, is from people emailing me asking me to go ahead and take a look at this or take a look at that. Have a great day. Anyone that's new here, go ahead and put I am new in all caps and we'll shout you out during our outro. Other than that, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. God bless every one of you. God bless America. And now is when I have to find our outro. Where's it at? Here it is. God bless you all. Have a great weekend.